Well, hey, Megan, thank you so much for joining me today. I cannot wait for you to share your story. And to kick things off, why don't you just share who is Megan?
Well, I'm Megan, obviously. I have a little boy who's 11 weeks old, and I've been married for a year and a half. I'm from Ocala, which is how I met Emily, and I actually work for my dad's construction company doing media and social media and just kind of keeping up all of their Facebook and everything. I also do photography on the side, graphic design on the side, and I have done all of those things for a while now, and it's one of those things I'm super passionate about. And as Emily knows, I made stationery for a while, so I kind of just dabble in a lot of different things, and whatever I feel creatively I'm being pushed towards, that's what I tend to do right now with my time. And then obviously I spend a lot of my time with my son, who is a little baby who I just get to love on all the time. So
I love it. Literally, Megan is one of the most gifted designers and photographers that I've ever met. And some of our first memories, I remember in college, we had so many good life conversations. One in particular that stands out to me, and for those of you who are tuning into this, literally Megan and I have walked through a lot of stages of life together, from single, dating, her getting married, me moving across the country, her first baby. It's just been cool to walk through seasons together. But I remember we were talking on the phone. I was at UF at the time. I think you were in West Palm. And we were catching up on life. And I remember I'm walking around UF, and we start talking about relationships. And we got into this whole philosophical discussion on how do you know if he's the right one? And you said something that I remember writing it down, and I actually still tell women this. You might not remember saying this at all.
I'm trying to recall it.
But the advice was gold. You legitimately was Emily, I really think you'll know if he's the one, if he's the guy that you can't live without. And if you can live without him, just start running, because he's not the one for you. And I remember you saying that. I was that's so simple, but it's really deep. It's so true. And so yeah, your relational advice keeps on going.
Oh, well, I'm glad you know that.
Yeah. But I've had so many fun memories with Megan. So it's been fun journeying through her becoming story and continuing to journey with her, and then being able to share it today. So if you were sitting across from another woman on her own becoming journey, and you're just trying to encourage her, what would you say?
Well, there have been so many moments in my life where I have felt that I felt like I couldn't make it through. And yet those moments were the moments that, the toughest moments, the hardest moments, were always the moments that I look back on, and they really were profoundly important in shaping my character and making me into the person I am today. And I always gained something from them. I always became a better person through them. And even though looking back, sometimes I'm man, that was tough. That was tough stuff. It's something that the lessons I learned from it was priceless. I couldn't have learned those lessons, I think, any other way. And there are huge turning points a lot of times, or motivators to act a better way, a certain way, and to become more Christ-like. And from the time, I think the first really significant moment happened whenever I was about 12. And then I think after that point, you start becoming more and more, you're start to be shaped more. You're shaped more by your circumstances and the people you're around. And so those moments that happen, at 12, and then I think there was one around 16. And then, as you get into college, you become more and more independent. So you have to take on a lot of those struggles yourself and really face them head on. And so I think that the one thing I would say to encourage someone is that in those tough moments, in those tough times, and the times that you feel like you can't make it to tomorrow, or you're anxious or overwhelmed or scared, that first of all, in the end, every single time for me, I've always become better and not worse. I have always become a more loving, kind person through those difficulties. And so I think that if you can remind yourself, like in the end, you're going to become better because of this, that really helps. But I think whenever you're having a difficult time and whenever it's really tough stuff you're working through, something that's super important is to know that a lot of times your next step or whatever God's pulling you through is helping you to become a better person. And there's not many moments that I can say really change the trajectory of my life, except if they were the really hard moments. Like I've never had an easy moment that has completely changed where I was at or where I was going. And from the time that I was, going through college, and I mean, the college was a significant point, but I think that I had to push through some tough things, and that God really rewarded those moments later and redeemed them. I think that's one of the biggest things, that he redeemed some of the really hard things. And, I've talked to my husband about it, my family, and there's been moments where it's like you're in it and you're like, how is this going to be good? How is this going to turn out good? And yet God redeems it so beautifully. And I think that's even a huge theme in the Bible is redemption. And then just seeing that he's helped me to become a better person through redemption's process and through those moments where I felt like I couldn't make it through the night or through the morning, or you see something, you just have that feeling, that sinking feeling of like, oh my gosh, is this going to turn out okay? And then you look back over your life and you can see all of those moments and see how God redeemed them and brought them into a better place, and gave them the better people around you, gave you more love, gave you a kinder heart, just such significant character development for me in those moments. So I think I would tell someone, even if you're going through a hard time, even if it's rough, even if you feel like, man, how is this going to turn out good? I can personally attest to every single time it has been God redeeming the situation, God building my character, God helping me to become a better person, a better woman, a better sister, a better daughter, a better friend. And so that's probably what I would tell someone, because if someone had told me that whenever I was 12, I think it would have saved me so much heartbreak and so much hurt, and so helped me to become a better person easier and quicker, and help me to trust God more, because I think a lot of it comes down to trusting him. Is in those moments, like, am I going to trust God, or am I going to worry about this all day? Am I just going to let it go? Am I going to grip onto this with tight fist, or am I going to just chill out? And actually, during one of those times that it was really hard for me, there was a verse that, God literally spoke it into my life, and it's one of the first times that had ever happened. And it was James 1:2-4. And it's count it all joy whenever you encounter trials of various kinds. And it says, for the testing of your faith will produce perseverance, and let perseverance finish its work in you, so that you may be mature and complete. And that is literally has been ever since I've gotten that verse, it's just something that I meditate on whenever I'm having a hard time, because it says it all. Those finish the work in you, so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking in anything. And I think that's what God lets those things happen to us in time, so that we can become mature and complete and more like him, and more loving and more kind, and really just develop a Christ-like spirit. So
I love that. I love how you were weaving through we go through all of these hard times, and then when we look back, that we can see how they shaped us. I've heard this example of someone weaving a tapestry together, and how on one side you only see all the knotted, gnarly parts, but on the opposite side you see this beautiful tapestry coming into place. And we see the knotted side of our lives and the crazy, gnarly stuff, and God sees this beautiful tapestry that he's just weaving together. It's that redemption piece that you talked about. I love that. That's beautiful. So, well, thank you so much for sharing that wisdom. I can't wait to go back and take tons of notes, and that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that out of your pain. Who you are becoming in the midst of that is what matters. So thank you. Everyone, make sure to follow Megan on social media. She has literally the best pictures, and if you're in Florida or even anywhere else and you need a photographer, she's your girl. I promise.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Megan.